You are listening to the Unglamorous Life. I'm Celeste.
I'm Laurin, and today we're talking about goals for 2018 that we both have, and just self-development, like in general.
Just in general.
If you look at our paper, it says self-development question mark. We're not sure.
Are we developing ourselves
humans?
at all this year, or
we're just jerking off like usual?
Let's just jerk it through all of 2018. No, dude.
But we actually do have goals.
Besides just jerking off. For me, I mean, okay, you're much younger than, not much younger than me, but you're like, what, 5 years younger than me? Mm-hmm. So I feel like there is a very big difference in between 25 and 30. And I think that's like where our goals will kind of like maybe differentiate, or how we can kind of, like, I can look back and say, okay, well, here I was at 25. Maybe you're ahead of me then, or what? But like, just kind of how my goals have changed when I've hit my 30s and 31 now. And then also this past year for me has been crazy, crazy pivotal, like roller coaster. You know, you've been a part of it for a while.
The whole year.
Yeah, the entire year. Like my divorce ups and downs, my business up and downs, personal life, just literally everything. So 2018 for me is like big time getting my shit together, and I have a lot of plans, and I know you do too. And I know that this podcast we kind of started late in the year, but we have big plans for this podcast next year as well. So
yeah, I think the goals differ too, because of like where we're at with like our businesses are so different, and a lot of our goals revolve around our business, which like our business and personal kind of go together. I feel like when you have a business that's like small,
it is just your life.
It is your life. So at least that's like what I feel like.
Right.
So and ours are just so different that I think it just, just like it's going to sound different. And then like you said, the age difference. So maybe, I don't know, when I'm 30, we'll do a podcast. If we're still podcasting in 5 years.
Yeah. Oh, we will be.
We will be.
If anyone's actually fucking listening to it,
there's like one listener. Everyone's unsubscribed.
Yeah, we have like one faithful listener. It's like my mom. She like doesn't even know what a podcast is. Fuck.
So I would say goals for 2018 are, for me at least, like some are specific, some are broad. For anyone who doesn't know, I mean, I guess if you've been listening, you know that I compete. If this is your first time listening, I'm an IFBB bikini pro, and I took off all of last year with competing, and I'm going to get back into it this year. So I plan on doing a few, probably 3 or 4 shows, and my ultimate goal is to win a show. That would be kind of like a number one, like competitive goal for myself. And then I am a coach too. And my goal is to have at least one of my clients turn pro. And because I have several top girls who are doing like pro qualifiers. So as far as like competitive goals and like coaching goals, like that's kind of where I'm at. And I'm shooting high because that obviously that's like
aim high, right?
Yeah. And then because if you don't, then you're like kind of close, and you're like, okay, that's better than nothing. No, but seriously, like if you're setting goals, like they should be scary, and it seems like very like far away that I could even win a show, or that one of my clients, could turn pro. But I probably have more faith in them than I do myself. But
that's the worst. Don't do that. But I mean, no, it's awesome really for them. But.
So that's the goal, like competitively, for both myself and the clients. And then just something that I'm terrible with is like videos, and like I have a lot of information that like me and Ryan like want to put out and like do things, but I'm such a perfectionist that it like cripples me sometimes.
You really are, and you're worse than me, because like sometimes I'll play back stuff if we do a video or like a podcast, and you're like, I hate my voice, and I hate my voice too, but like you're even worse than me, so I get it. So it's hard. I understand that like you want to put out something that's your best, but for a perfectionist, it's hard to do that.
It's super hard because I look at like a video or a picture or a podcast, whatever, and I'm like, oh, this could be better. I don't even I can't listen to any of our podcasts.
I know. I want to punch you in the face because they're actually pretty good.
Like, why the fuck would I want to listen to myself talk? Same with like, I don't listen to the one that me and Paul do. Like, I don't listen to anything. Or even like my YouTube videos. Like, if I'm editing it, I make sure I piece together the clips, but after that, like I don't watch it. So my goal this year is to stop overthinking like that kind of stuff and just, quote unquote, just do it. Because that's probably like my worst like being a perfectionist is good in a lot of ways, but it can like really hold you back in like other ways. So for Christmas, I got Final Cut Pro, which is like the fancy schmancy version of iMovie. And so I know that's going to be a bear for me to figure out how to edit on.
Oh, that's what YouTube's for though, dude.
I know.
Or, I know, never mind. YouTube though, for sure. You can learn anything on YouTube.
I know. So that's my goal, is to put together like more content that like is stuff that's like, like everybody wants to see and is visually appealing, but also like informative, and just kind of like start doing that more. Cause I've been doing that, but it's not been like my focus. And, it's just like, most of it is like me overthinking it or like not liking it or like whatever, so I just need to kind of like get over that. So that's like a personality thing as well as like a goal, right? Like business and personal. But
how many podcasts did we record before we started doing them?
Well, we did a bunch.
We did like what, 4? And then we totally canned them.
Okay, but that's like normal, I feel.
Is it, Lauren?
You didn't like them either.
No, but this is an example of like, I mean, I'm not saying that it was bad that we did that, because I think that the new products the first ones that we put out were a better like outlined version of what we wanted to put out. But we did record 4 and we did a whole photo shoot, which we used the photo shoot, but like and because I'm similar to you in a lot of ways, is like, I was like, no, you're right, I don't like these. But it's kind of like it's like, oh, this happened, let's not waste this time again or whatever, because it's hard for us. And this is only speaking for the podcast. I mean, we both have a million things going on, but like, you live like 4 hours from me, and we're both traveling constantly and both have our own businesses. And so it's crazy to get together to do these podcasts. Yeah. And so we didn't waste it, but we spent a whole weekend together doing podcasts that we never used, because we were like, no, fuck these, let's do new ones. So like the goal next year is to just like nail it the first time, right?
Yeah. Or just be like, because honestly, like at the end of the day, like most people like, and I'm still going to make it like quality work. It's never like, I'm never going to like not like what I'm putting out, but like letting it basically cripple me to like not do it. Cause a lot of times I'll be like, no, I can't do this because of like, I'll make up all these reasons. And then like Ryan will literally be like, okay, that doesn't make any sense. Or like, he'll like make me say it out loud. And I'm just like, I'm like, no.
Look in the mirror.
I'm like, no, it makes sense. I shouldn't be doing this because of whatever. And he's like, you have no real reason why you shouldn't. So, that's something that I really want to commit to this year. And not like, I'm not going to ever be somebody who's like, that's not like my sole focus. It's never going to be like, I'm never going to be like the best video editor, photographer, film, whatever. Like, but that's not the point. Like people aren't coming to me for that.
Yeah.
They're coming for information. So
also you're going to get to the point where you're not going to have time for that stuff. Like, and you'll have to pass it on to like an employee or an assistant or something like that. But I get that, because I want to be able to edit my own shit, because you're your own worst critic, and sometimes you only have the ideas in your head that you can't get across to somebody else, so you know how you want something edited.
Yeah, that's the hardest part with having anybody do anything else, is just because of being like a perfectionist. Is like, that's why I haven't hired like an assistant yet, because it's been so hard for me to like want to give over
and to let go of that like power. No, it's not even about power, it's like the creative vision of it. And
yeah, or like, would you answer like even like an email assistant, right? Like, would you answer things how I would answer it?
Right.
And I know at some point, again, like you have to like get over that, because if you're always working on or in the business, you can't work on the business, or like whatever the fuck that saying is.
But I mean, at least you're aware of it, right? Like, it's something that you have to eventually overcome.
Yeah. And that's probably the hardest part of like owning a small business, I think, is because my business is like super small, but it's something that like, if you want to take on more people, it's all time based. If I want to like reach more people, it's all based on time. So like, what's the most efficient way to like use my time, whether it's like a podcast or a video or like taking on new clients or like answering other emails, like everything has a time component.
Right. I mean, and I know, having a business, the hardest part, and I think we might have talked about this at some point, but in one of our other podcasts, but the hardest part is letting go of the things that you hold so dear, that you started from the beginning, you do every day. Like, will someone do them as well as you, or the way that you want them done? And it's kind of giving up this kind of control, and it's scary. But I will tell you that once I let go some of the responsibility that I had, it was so much easier to concentrate on
other things,
bigger, better things. Yeah. And now I'm to the point. So my goals for 2018 are like, yes, Celestial Bodies 100% is how I make my money. It's my livelihood. It's my baby. It's my brand. I'm expanding the line, coming out with different stuff, like an edgier, grungier version of athletic wear. Yes. And then I also have a lot of personal goals that aren't absolutely 100% Celestial Bodies. Like working on making Celestial Bodies just a facet of my life, and working on things like speaking engagements, and I want to write a book, and all this other stuff that I couldn't necessarily do before, whether it was because of the person that I was with, or because my business or my time was tied up with 100% of the business all day, every day, or, you know, whatever it was. So now I'm kind of like, my goal is to kind of learn how to manage my time better, and be able to see myself in many different like facets of life. And instead of, okay, so I have Celestial Bodies, yes, that's how I make money, but now I'm gonna move into like public speaking, and I'm gonna start talking about my experiences in my life, and like all the
that's why we wanted to start the podcast too, right? You know, like it's a really good outlet for that.
It is. So it's yeah, and on like just adding on top of this speaking stuff is the podcast, and then I started the YouTube channel, and so it's so much shit, but it's also cool and motivating. And I'm like, damn, 2018 is going to be such a crazy year, because 2017 was such a fucked up year, but also like a good pivotal year. And so now I feel like I'm kind of like indestructible. As I say that, like a gush of wind like blows me over, and I like break my arm. And then, you know, I got into doing a little bit of wrestling again next year. So I'm just kind of I'm dabbling in a bunch of different things, because I feel like this motivation to explore what I'm capable of, I guess, and giving, and part of that was really giving up a lot of the control, or like doing every task within my company.
Yeah. And I know that's something that I think a lot of business people go through, or really like any project that you're working on, you know, like giving up, like once you get to that stage of like growing enough, like what do you do? So I think it's like normal. So that kind of leads into like, we have these goals, but like in order to reach goals, you obviously have to do some kind of self-development. And, you know, so how do we do that? Like, what do we recommend? So obviously most, like the easiest way would be like books and podcasts, right? Like that's something like I enjoy reading. It's obviously, it can be hard sometimes to like just sit down and read. So listening is a great way too. So like there's so many good podcasts out nowadays. There's so many good books out. There's also audiobooks.
I was just going to say audiobooks are
I like
for
I know. I like
because you're a nerd, so you like to read. No, I'm just saying I like reading too, but I never like, I'm either like I just pass out or I get anxiety. So like I listen to the shit while I'm doing cardio or driving or whatever. So audiobooks are how I have to do it, but I know some people just really like the quiet peacefulness of reading.
Yeah. And for me, like I have been trying to get like better like before sleep habits and stuff. So like reading is like a good part of that, instead of like mindlessly like looking through your phone, which all of us do. Yes. Just like burning my brain cells as I'm scrolling.
I am now dumber for having done that.
I literally will like be like, why the fuck am I doing this? And then you just like can't stop because it's like made to be addicting. So books and podcasts are probably like the easiest ways I would say like to self-develop like yourself. Obviously, and like I would say like find good books and good podcasts, but like you can always learn something from somebody, even if like you don't love like the whole overall like theme like of the book, like you can still take away something most likely. Then the other ways too would be to either like hire out people for like as like an advisor kind of role, or just surrounding yourself with people who have been there, done that, got the fucking t-shirt or whatever that saying is. Isn't that a t-shirt?
You lame.
I know. Like people who have been there, they're like-minded and they're like influential and like positive and like helping you or like grow.
Surrounding yourself
with those people,
like-minded people, and basically people that have the same kind of goals and aspirations.
Yeah. And they've either done it or they're supportive of it and can help you brainstorm. So like I work with a company called First Form. I would definitely suggest you guys check it out if you don't know who they are. They're an amazing company, amazing culture with the company. And they're with all the people within there are like some of my favorite people just in general, like who work there. They're just awesome. And every time I go up there, I learn like so much. And like they've all been in business for multiple years, like far longer than I have been, in different businesses too, but like also their business. And like they've been able to troubleshoot a bunch of stuff, and they understand like where I'm at and like where I want to be. So just being around them has been so helpful. And like every time I go up there, I have like, you know, like an hour or two, you know, like I don't want to say meeting, but like sit down talk and like, you know, help me kind of get my head on straight and like figure out what I should do and like what I should avoid. So like having people like that in your corner is really helpful. So they've been those people to me, even though like you would think like, oh, you're just like an athlete with a supplement company, but it's way more than that. Like for me, like my relationship with them. And then you recently hired an advisor.
Right.
It's been really awesome for you.
Yeah. I was gonna add more on to like the First Form stuff is, you know, even though I'm not part of the company, I've known Andy and Sal for years, and they've always been nothing but amazing and genuine and awesome. And I'm a fan of Andy's podcast and his Instagram and all that stuff. And so like I know
they're so nice that I was like very concerned at first.
Yeah,
like everyone who works there is like so fucking nice. They're all from like the Midwest, so it's nothing like shithole Florida.
How do you really feel about Florida? Fuckface. No, I agree. And then every time I see you, either you've just gotten back from a trip or you're heading there, and you always have such amazing stuff, and you seem inspired, and you always learn something from that. So I think it's so important to find somebody that can give you like sound advice, who either knows or is like,
it's like relatable.
And that has experience maybe where you don't have experience, and they understand where you're coming from, and you guys are kind of on the same page about things. And so I recently I was having issues within my company with certain employees, and so I just had kind of like a tough time this year, like with all the transitions and getting new employees, and then figuring out the like structure of, you know, whose job is what, and, you know, and just the corporate structure, I guess. And because I didn't have any really experience with that. And then, so I hired a consultant, and I have an advisor, and, we joke that like, he's kind of like my handler, and, because like I'm such an asshat all the time. So it's nice to like have to be accountable for certain things like every week. Okay, like here. So he's like, okay, every week you talk to me, you're going to tell me what you did and what you're trying to accomplish next week. And, you know, did you accomplish the things you said you were going to do last week? And if so, how did you do it? If not, you know, why'd you fail? Or, you know, what was the issue? What'd you learn from it? And then here's what are we trying to accomplish next week? And what are your goals for the next 3 months? And like, we recently put together a plan for my 2018 plan. And that seems way overwhelming to me, because I'm like, oh, fuck, I barely even have my shit together in 2017. But it did help me a lot, like just by being able to write things down or say things out loud and know, okay, if these are the things that I see for myself, like how am I going to accomplish it? And so having someone to hold you accountable is
everything. Yeah. Accountability
huge.
Is everything. Cause like part of it is like, you obviously like I don't want to say like you don't want to let them down, because it really doesn't matter, but like you are like, okay, like I'm responsible. You're being like, you know, you're just being held accountable, and like you're responsible to them, and you're like, okay, I want to do this and like prove myself too, you know, like you want to be like on track for you, but also kind of like for them, right? And I know a lot of people, like that's like with coaching, like that's a huge thing. It's just like accountability in general. Like a lot of people know what to do, and even myself included. Like I have a coach, I'm a coach, but I have a coach. And how many times can I say coach? Coach. But it just helps, you know, like you know, every week, you know, like, okay, I'm going to check in on this day. I'm going to have to like report whatever I did or didn't do.
Yeah, how I fucked up.
Yeah. So, and it just really helps, you know, so having someone there, and that could either be a friend too, you know, like if this is like a personal goal, it doesn't necessarily need to be like a business advisor. If it's like a personal goal that you want to be held accountable with, either like your family, your significant other, like a friend, and you guys can like do it together, or like just have somebody there to like help you through it. Because there's all days, like we all have days where we either like we don't want to do what we're supposed to do. And there's plenty, and like you can do that some days, like it doesn't have to be like your best day every day, but for the most part, like if you really want to be successful, you have to have your shit together more days than not. So having that
unfortunately,
yeah, fuck. I'm sorry to drop that like knowledge bomb on everyone, but if you want to be successful, you got to have your shit together.
But you know what though? You don't have to know everything. You don't even have to know shit. You just have to be willing to learn it and like really just commit to doing it. And like you can be successful at like pretty much, I mean, maybe not rocket science if you don't know fucking rocket science. But like, you know, my advisor, Chris, actually, we talk about all the time is like, not all the time, but he brings it up often, just like rub it in my face because he's a dick. But he's like, you're not qualified for any of this stuff, but you're doing it. So that's cool. And I think that that's like something that, because like, you know, I don't have a formal education. Like I never finished school. I was a pro wrestler and now I have a business and I literally learn every day about how to run a business. And so I think that is such a important thing for me when I fuck up or I fail or something's not going the way that I want it to go. I have to remember that like, hey, I'm literally learning as I go. So all of these things that I'm trying to accomplish, like next year or, you know, for my 2018 plan, like I'm going to go through shit like that. And that's part of the unglamorous side of it. Like you're going to go through shit where you learn and then you're going to get better and then you're going to learn a better way to do it and you're going to get there eventually. But none of it's going to come easy, especially if it's something that's like a big goal, like something that's huge, you know, not
and
like
you have to have those kind of goals in order to like be successful, you know?
Set small goals and then you have those big ones, like the big ones you want to reach, and like it's gonna fucking suck getting there, but then if it doesn't, then what, you know, I mean, like what are you
there's really
learn?
Nothing to lose besides you feeling like all you're gonna do is hold yourself back if you don't have like the bigger goals. And I think a lot of times I do, like I'm again, like I can speak to this because I've like been there, are there, am there.
Yeah.
Grammar. I'm like drawing on the table.
She's drawing like stick figures.
I can't do English, but no, really. Fuck.
All right. She got distracted again.
Okay.
Guys.
I know.
All right.
I feel like we need like, I don't know. I need something like
an advisor during our podcast.
I need like a green screen, but that would probably distract me too.
Yeah, there's no way to.
There's no way to help. I'm just always distracted.
Yeah.
No, really, I don't know. I have no idea what I was just talking about.
You were talking about shit. Okay, so we talked about the tools that we use, books, podcasts. I have an advisor now. What else? What else is there for people? Like, what other forms of are ways to educate yourself on something you may not have an experience in? I think, and we joked about this. I think the last podcast was YouTube.
Wasn't it this one?
You can I don't know. You can learn anything on YouTube, right?
Haven't we been in this room for like 3 days?
What day is it? Like so, and there's been a lot of times where I have
Google it.
You, legit. Okay, just Google it. Like I've learned, and it's kind of a joke now. I'm just like, just look it up on YouTube because I have found YouTube it's taught me, like for instance, the platform that I run my business on is called Shopify. And
I don't know if you guys have heard of this thing.
Right? So it's called Shopify. And I recently lost an employee that used to do most of my back end stuff on Shopify. So I needed to figure some shit out real quick. So I either watched a YouTube video on it or I called Shopify and I figured it out. So
you are so proud of yourself.
I'm so pleased.
No, but dude, that's like awesome because
it's like just learning, because there's a lot of people that have the same questions and don't necessarily know like where to go. So that's why there are like YouTube videos on literally everything.
YouTube is literally like a how-to search engine.
You can learn how to use your Final Cut on YouTube. Like,
I know. Okay, I know.
You can. Legit. I've watched a Final Cut video on YouTube because I wanted to know how, because like I have it on my computer too. Not that I've used it, but yeah, there's like a ton of super instructional. And when I was trying to figure out how to make a Pinterest page, I legit didn't know
my eyes right now.
I didn't know how to use Pinterest, but apparently it was like a huge like revenue stream, or like it was so 80% of Pinterest users are women.
Well, I figured.
And so it was like a huge market that I was missing out on as far as social media goes for my company, because I have a women's fitness apparel company. So I had no fucking idea how to use Pinterest. So I watched like 3 videos on how to like monetize it and how to set it up and how to make it appealing and what to do, what not to do, so there's literally, there's always a way to learn something like from the internet.
Yeah, and then you can also hire out credible people too for stuff that either you can't figure out or you don't want to figure out, like web stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to build our own websites.
Definitely not going to build our own website via Google. Actually, I did build my first website, but that was like super stupid simple. But if you want to build something that's like fancy, like that's something that I'm not going to be able to like figure out how to do or give any
you
fucks.
Can't do everything yourself, obviously.
Like,
and then we're also kind of contradicting ourselves, saying like, oh, well, you know, if you have all these other things you want to accomplish, you can't do everything yourself. So there is like
a limit. The limit does exist.
The limit does not exist. Mean Girls, come on, guys, look it up.
Google it or YouTube it for that matter. But yeah, so there's obviously like there's a point in your business or your self-development. I mean, anything. You have to pick and choose what you want to focus on and what you don't want to focus on.
Yeah, what you can hand off or get help with or hire someone to do, and what you want to take on
create
yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's important too to like, for me at least, just finding other things that you're interested in. And like, I think that, I mean, like obviously, nutrition, fitness, dieting, coaching, like that's like everything that I do. But I've like become super interested in like the psychology kind of aspect of it. So a lot of the like books and things that I read are like psychology, business, self-development kind of just stuff. And I've just found that to be really interesting. And I have no like real training or like knowledge in that. It's just like everything that I like try to focus on so I can like become, I'm not like an expert in that field, obviously, in any like regard.
But you can take it and apply it to
and help other people with it.
Yeah.
So
that's really your clients or yourself or whatever aspect of it. That's super cool. It's always cool to have interests that have nothing to do with even if it has nothing to do with your business or your livelihood or whatever, even just having different things
interests. A lot of times I have to tell my clients that sometimes because they'll get so hung up with like fitness stuff, and I'm like, go do something else. Like obviously if you're committed to like a fitness goal, like say you're doing a competition, which is like the most extreme level of a fitness goal, that's going to take a lot of your time, obviously, and that is going to become your focus at some point. But do other things too outside of fitness. You know what I mean? Like you can either like take classes or like read new books or, like whatever. Like there can be something else that you're doing that is like a project or like a creative aspect or like a learning aspect.
Something that stimulates your mind. It's not just like competition prep, dieting, cardio,
it can
training.
be something completely different. And I think that's something like I just have to like tell my client, and then people are like, oh, you're right. Like I probably should. And then they become like
robot,
more well-rounded in like other aspects of their life. I don't know. It's just something that I think a lot of us like will forget. Like we'll just be so ingrained in like what we're doing.
I know. I agree. And I think that's with a big like example of that was what you're just talking about is like being a competitor or whatever. It's so hardcore driven, like finish, eyes on the prize, and you don't look at anything else. But it also can happen to you as a business owner or someone who is really career focused. And so I feel like we're both very career focused women. We have a lot of shit we want to accomplish. Right. So, but I will say that I have realized, this year, mostly that because my life changed in so many different ways, like flip-flopped. I can't even, it's so much how much my life has changed since the beginning of 2017 to now, where I was like, oh my God, okay, so I got a divorce, like shit's getting real. I have to figure out how to run my business. And like, I was so goal-oriented and like, also really like not emotionally in a good place. And so I became so focused on everything I had to do for the company and how am I going to get better? How am I going to survive? How am I going to, like grow my company? And then somewhere along the way, I started realizing like, hey, I'm sort of not living that much. So I'm 30, which is not old, but I'm not fucking young anymore. Like, I'm not like a spring chicken anymore. So I started realizing these like little points in my life where I'm like, hey, I should stop and enjoy my life for, this day or like this 15 minutes. I do something for myself. So when I had been doing a lot of expos this year for Celestial Bodies, and we were just, like fitness, the Europa and stuff like that, just fitness expos. And those are so much fucking work because you fly everything down there. You have to set up your whole booth. You work all day. It's meeting and greeting people, autographs, selling, just, wheeling and dealing. And then you sleep and then you get up and do the same thing every day. And then I started realizing, hey, we're taking these trips. Like, I'm with my staff. Let's go do something fun. So you enjoy the in-between moments, right? Because if you don't, then what the fuck are you doing, right? Like, you're not living your life.
That's something that's fun, I think, with what we get to do, at least, is like, we have to travel a lot. Like, it's not a written requirement, but in order for like the brands to grow, it helps if we travel. And basically, like, I traveled a lot last year. I'm going to travel even more this year. And going to events or like being places, and then also still having like a few hours to do something fun or like explore whatever. And whether that's like a new restaurant or like a new gym or like a park or like whatever it is, like we always try to like do that. And like, for example, like me and Paul travel a lot together for like, whether it's the fitness events or like big shows.
You guys always do fun stuff.
Yeah,
I love it.
And we usually like, we're there and like, we usually get in on like a Thursday. And then, so like, say it's like a show, right? For like a national show. We usually get in on a Thursday. We check in on all the girls. We're doing our normal work. And then like Friday and Saturday, it's like normal emails, check on the clients, go to the shows. And then usually like Saturday night, we'll like go somewhere. And then like Sunday, we'll take like a later flight. So we'll kind of like explore whatever city in, right, like earlier in the day for like a few hours. And then it's like perfect. It's like fun. It's enjoyable. But we also like worked our asses off that weekend, got to meet people, got to like do everything, but still
you got everything out of the trip possible.
Yeah.
And that's something that it took me a while to learn. Like when I was traveling with WWE, the trips are so grueling, like the tours and like the overseas stuff. And even the stuff that was like, just within, the US, just traveling literally every week, like nonstop. But it went to so many cool cities. And so I would always be so dead tired, but it took me a long time to realize like, hey, maybe I'm never going to get to travel like this again. So I started, if I had an hour or 2 hours where I should have worked out, cause like maybe we were in Europe, whatever, and they had a gym attached and we had an hour to work out before we had to hit their arena for the show. Instead of working out, because you can work out anywhere, I mean, you have to prioritize, obviously. Like, you can't choose to not work out every time. But, you take that hour and go explore the city if you're in a different country and you may not ever get to be there again or whatever the situation is. So it's all about kind of like mixing it up and having fun, but also taking care of business and taking care of yourself, obviously. But no, I learned, that was something I learned like later on, like my last maybe like year or two when I was with them, is that you have to enjoy yourself too and just kind of live. So my goal.
And it doesn't have to be like, I think when people hear that, they think that they need to like literally like take a whole week and like do nothing. Like that's not like, it literally like can be like an hour.
Yeah. Find those little moments.
Still being like productive and getting shit done. You can still work like within that, and that like you can work and have fun and like get it all, like you can literally get everything done that you want. So I think that there's either like, it's very easy to fall into the like just work category or the just like lay on the couch, be a slop kebab category. Yeah.
There's so many people in this grind now, play later mode. And I get
or
it.
Play now, never grind. So
yeah.
I mean,
but it can be either. So like aligning myself with like, career focused people or entrepreneurs or whatever. Some of them have this like grind now, like fuck it, go to bed super early, get up super early. All I do is work. That's and whatever, it'll pay off later. But hey, you're never guaranteed anything. So I hate that mentality so much. While I think, yes, it is great to grind your ass off when you're young because you're able. And that's like when you're on your game and probably when you're like your hungriest. But I feel like the people that only grind now because they have this thought that they're going to play later is so fucking stupid, because you are never guaranteed tomorrow. You're not guaranteed fucking 10 years from now. So if you don't like enjoy your life in some aspect now, or you don't live your life in some aspect, and if that means like staying up an hour or two later to like catch up with friends or like go do something that you haven't done before or experience something you haven't experienced yet, then fucking do it, because who knows?
Yeah, you literally might not get that chance, especially with the travel. Like, always take advantage of like a city that we're in, like when possible, you know, like just because, and like you said, even if it's like an hour, just going somewhere different or just like walking around, just seeing shit, you know, like sometimes that's like fun enough depending on where you are, obviously. Like, I wouldn't recommend that everywhere.
Me and Christina, when we were in Dallas for the Dallas Marathon, we decided to walk instead of Uber. It was really cold, but we were like, oh, we have beanies, and we like saw a lot of cool shit walking 10 minutes to the hotel instead of taking a 3-minute Uber ride. And then we also accidentally walked into the hood and went into this liquor store and almost like got kidnapped, but it was fun. And it was like, okay, we didn't die, great, but like shit like
Why
that.
am I not surprised that you're in the liquor store almost getting kidnapped?
And then we went rock climbing. We decided to skip the gym. Like, it was after our second day of the expo. We were super tired, but we were like, fuck it. Like, Dallas had the tallest indoor rock climbing gym in the world.
Outside.
No, well, so they have they have these crazy silos, and like they had the highest one in the world indoor, 120 feet. We didn't do that one. We did like 100-foot one, and because you know, you have the person that's like, I forget what it's called, like the anchor person that's holding your rope so you don't die. She was mine, and like I had made it up maybe like 50 feet, and I fell. But like you're on a harness, right? So, but it was so scary, but it was so fun, and like. It's actually my last vlog that I just did, my vlog 5.
Check that out.
Check out my vlog. It's on my YouTube page. And so I have, because I'm doing the vlog, it has kind of inspired me to do more cool shit. Cause I'm like, oh, you know what? Like, this would be cool for the vlog. So why don't I do it instead of like, oh, let me take a nap because I'm tired, and, you know, then go work out maybe, or like just do something. I don't know. Like, we just decided to go rock climbing because they had the gym there, and we did it. And I broke a nail and like pulled my hamstring and stuff, but it was worth it. And it was so fun. And like, I almost fell off the wall. So we had a story.
Do it for the vlog is Celeste's new motto for 2018.
Or the podcast.
Yeah. So we can talk about it on here.
There's so many things I need content for right now. Just even like conversation.
You're like, fuck, what are we going to go do after this?
I didn't even think about that. We were going to go to the gym, but that's out now. Yeah. We're going to go do something way crazier. Oh, you know that they have a rock climbing wall outdoor at FAU?
Really?
Yeah. That's
Are we allowed to go on there?
That's a local college right next to us. I don't know if we're allowed.
Like, is it for the college? Are we going to break in?
I'm not sure.
That could be the adventure. We sneak into FAU to go rock climbing.
Get arrested. Oh, God. Oh, there's a thing now called bouldering where it's basically rock climbing, but at a really low, like you don't go really high, and you're supposed to do it without a harness. So you don't need somebody to like hold your rope. And I forget what it's called. To somebody that like supports you and has your rope in case you do fall off the wall, and it's just for like a workout. So I guess their walls are like maybe 20 feet, and then they have like crash pads below it. So if you fall, you just fall on a crash pad. But that's a thing.
I really want to go in like the indoor trampoline places, like the huge ones.
Yo, I went to one of those. It's right by the wrestling school that I go to.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, it's like Extreme something. I went and did this guy I was dating months ago. We brought his kid there, and I like got in this like extremely competitive dodgeball game with these kids, and I was like, fuck these kids, because they were like pegging me in the face and stuff.
Kids are like merciless.
I know.
I would have killed them.
I was so mad. But yeah, like those are fun if you want to go.
Yeah.
They're good exercise too. I was sweating my ass off.
So we're going to end the podcast there because we're going to the indoor trampoline place stat
to get black eyes, but it's so glamorous. Thank you for listening to The Unglamorous Life.
Please subscribe to the podcast and leave us any feedback.
Go to celestialbodies.com
and laurinconlin.com.
And remember, life is unglamorous.